The Shield Weaver armor is one of the best armor sets in Horizon Zero Dawn. This armor comes with a rechargeable shield that allows you to take an insane amount of damage. And even though this is an armor that's not designed to be grabbed until the endgame, using some unconventional methods, you can still get this armor pretty early on. Even in 2024 with the Horizon Zero Dawn Remaster, this still works. So let me show you exactly where and how to pick up the Shield Weaver, and it all starts right from the very beginning of the game. Now in this save, I've only played up until the War Chief's Trial, which is the 8th main mission in the game, so still pretty early on. But if you're even earlier in the game or starting a brand new game, parts of this can be even easier. Or if you're later in the game, no worries, all of these areas are still accessible. Now in order to gain access to the Shield Weaver, you'll need to collect 5 power cells that are scattered across the map.
Huh, a 5th power cell. They must fit somewhere.
You'll then have to return the power cells to the underground bunker located just north of Mother's Cradle and solve a couple of quick puzzles, and then the armor is yours. The side quest, Ancient Armory, will kick off once you pick up the first power cell or once you've discovered the underground bunker.
Armor. From the age of the old ones. But how do I get to it?
The first 2 power cells can be picked up pretty early in the game. Power cell number 1 can be picked up during the main mission, The Womb in the Mountain. Once you wake up in Allmother's Mountain, you'll be tasked with retrieving your gear. But before you do, if you explore around inside Allmother's Mountain, in a room to the left, you'll find the first power cell.
Some kind of power cell. I wonder what it's for.
Now once you've completed that mission, Allmother's Mountain will be closed until pretty late in the game, so if you're already past that point, we're gonna need to get a bit creative. To access Allmother's Mountain once the gate is closed, you'll first want to travel to this campfire north of Mother's Watch. You'll see that if you just try to walk in, the entrance is closed. But if you head around to the side, you'll come across this area of rocks that sort of looks like a ramp. Now we won't be able to just climb up this ramp directly, so we'll need to call our mount. If you don't already have one, there should be a pack of striders nearby that you can override. Once you have your mount, head back up to the ramp and you should be able to pretty easily just walk up it. Once you get to the top of the ramp area, we won't need our mount anymore, so feel free to just jump off. Now we're going to want to stick to the outer part of this rock wall, but just to show you, eventually we're going to want to end up over here on top of the entrance to Allmother's Mountain. Now the game doesn't necessarily want you in this area, so you'll have to fight through some invisible barriers, which you should be able to do pretty easily by just jumping. You'll want to stay relatively close to the edge here, just following the path of the lighter colored rocks. Once we make our way around, we'll eventually want to end up right on top of this opening to Allmother's Mountain. And once there, you can just kind of fall down in between the arch and the mountain, and if you get stuck, you can just roll out of it. Once you're on the ground, you should be able to just walk right in. The power cell you're looking for will be down the first hallway to the right, and then take the first left.
Some kind of power cell. I wonder what it's for.
Now power cell number 2, you'll want to revisit the ruins where Aloy's journey first began and where you found your first focus. This area is located just east of Mother's Cradle. Once you're there, instead of dropping down all the way into the ruins, aim for this little ledge.
This old place. I haven't been here in years. Wonder what I can find.
Navigate through the hallways until eventually you come to a staircase. And at the bottom of the staircase, you'll find a door that you can pry open. Once you're through the door, go straight and head up the second staircase. At the top of the stairs, turn immediately to your right and you'll see a rock wall that you can break open.
I wonder if I can find a way into it now that I'm older.
And just behind that, you'll find the next power cell.
Another one of these power cells. But what do I do with it?
Now power cell number 3 is where things start to get fun. Head north to the Grave Hoard, which is the ruins south of where you enter the Frozen Wilds. Once there, you'll see this Horus arm reaching into the ground surrounded by these rocks. And you're going to need to drop down into this area through this tiny hole.
Solid ice. I'm not getting through here.
To do that, we need to walk towards the hole, and right when we're on top of it, release the joystick to stop walking. If you time it right, Aloy should slide right down into the bunker below. Now the timing on this can be a little bit tricky, but it shouldn't take you too many times before you're able to get it. I found that I like to move the camera to have more of a top-down view, which is helpful for knowing when to release the joystick, and you'll want to make sure that you're walking and not running. But other than that, I don't really have any tricks to making this work. Sometimes I can get it after just 1 or 2 tries, and other times it takes a few minutes. But eventually, if you keep at it, you should be able to get it. And once inside, head straight and down the zip line. At the bottom of the zip line, head to the room to the right, and then turn left and go down a second zip line. At the bottom of the second zip line, the power cell should be sitting right there.
I keep finding these power cells. What do they do?
Now for power cell number 4, we're going to need to head north to Gaia Prime. To do that, we'll need to head into Karja territory through Dawn's Sentinel. If you've already completed the quest, A Secret at the Gates, this gate should already be open so you can just travel through. If not, you'll have to get around the gate. To do that, head around to the side until you're able to jump up the cliff, and then follow the rock wall back towards the gate. Once you get there, you'll hit an invisible wall that you'll need to get around. To do that, jump away from the wall, and while you're in midair, you can just turn back towards the wall. From there, just head around the edge of the rocks and you should be able to drop down on the other side of the gate and continue to Gaia Prime. Once you get to Gaia Prime, head past the machines and up the path. If you've never been to this area before, there's going to be a stormbird at the top of the mountain looking to ruin your day. But it should be easy enough to just run past them and continue on. From there, just continue on the path and climb up the mountain until eventually you'll reach this area here. Now in the main story mission, there'll be a ladder here that you can just climb up, but since we're accessing this area early, there's no ladder, so we'll need to find an alternate way. To do that, we'll want to go down to this ledge here and crouch down. We're going to want to jump up the wall, so to do that, once you're crouched, turn the camera so that's facing all the way up, and then just start jumping towards the right side. It might take just a couple of jumps to get all the way up there, but again, this shouldn't be too bad. And once you're up there, head inside the bunker and down the elevator shaft. At the end of the hall, you should end up outside. From there, look to your left and you'll want to drop down slightly and then jump up to this room here. And once there, the power cell should be sitting there on the right.
A power cell, like the ones I found before. I'm gonna have to figure this out.
Okay, and for our last power cell, we'll be heading further west to the Maker's End ruins. There are some machines and human enemies here, so you'll want to be a bit careful. For the most part, you can just ignore them, but if they're giving you problems, feel free to take them out, and then you can just walk through here without being disturbed. From the campfire, instead of going straight, we're actually going to take the path to the left. Now we will also need a mount for this, so if you don't have one, you can grab one of these chargers on the way. With our mount, ride into the camp, ignoring all the enemies, and we get to this rock wall, you should be able to just ride your mount right up the wall. It might give you a bit of a resistance, but it really shouldn't be a problem. From there, ride around the side and then up to this area here with the trees and the branches blocking the path. Aloy on her own can't make it through this area, but while you're on your mount, you should just be able to walk right through. And instead of going on the elevator shaft straight ahead, we're going to want to turn to the right and climb up this elevator shaft. Once you get inside, the path might seem a bit confusing, but it's actually pretty straightforward. You just want to keep climbing up. We're trying to get to the very top of this tower, so if you ever get lost or a little bit turned around, just keep looking for opportunities to climb up higher, and eventually that should lead you back outside to this area here. Once there, turn around and you'll find another elevator shaft that you'll need to climb up. Finally, at the end of that elevator shaft, there'll be a room that you can walk in, and then head back outside before climbing up again and onto the roof. And from there, we're gonna keep climbing up. up, 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 all the way up until we get to the very tippy top, and that's where we're gonna find power cell number 5.
A 5th power cell. They must fit somewhere.
While you're up here, take a second to admire the view because it is incredible, especially with the remaster, and then once we're done, we're gonna wanna head back to the original bunker to get the armor. Now once you have all the power cells, all that's left to do is put them into the empty spots on each side. There'll be a quick puzzle that you'll need to solve that involves turning the power cells clockwise or counterclockwise to match the code nexus panel on the wall, but these are pretty simple and shouldn't take you too long.
Did it. Now to check the door.
And once you've done that, voila, the Shield Weaver is yours. And even after getting the Shield Weaver, if you're still not quite OP enough in the early part of the game, be sure to check out this other Horizon Zero Dawn video where I show you some of my favorite early game tips and tricks to help you get off to the best start possible. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.